How is all this going to be impacting our Indian markets? We have a team of research joining in with us to set you up for trade, tell you which are the important stocks to watch out for as well. Urmas, first up, coming to you, what are we watching out for in terms of important cues? Yesterday, a bit of a dull day that happened by the end of the day in terms of the Indian markets. Today, are we expecting a green start?
Morning, Winnie. In par for the course, right? Even if it was a day of consolidation after the breakneck up move that we saw over the last 4 trading sessions, and the index was up almost 700 points. So it took a bit of a breather yesterday, and it was, of course, the index heavyweights that led the up move. They saw some bit of profit booking from higher levels, be it HDFC Bank, be it ICICI, or be it Reliance. All of them contributed towards the downside for the index. But the positive was the fact that despite ending lower, it managed to make a higher high on the chart, being that the intraday high of yesterday was higher than the intraday high of Friday. So that was a positive that came in. Of course, the broader markets continued to remain outperformers, be it the mid caps or the small cap index, both of them ending significantly in the green, led by the PSU banks, which was the top sectoral gainer yesterday, even though the Nifty bank ended lower, but the PSU bank index was among the top gainers with gains of over 2.5%. Of course, the real action now begins with in terms of the domestic cues. We'll have auto sales numbers starting from today. The first quarter business updates have already started to trickle in from companies like Ireda and HUDCO, and today also being the weekly expiry of the Sensex contract, so that can add to some bit of volatility as well. And of course, any progress on the trade talks between India and the US could be an additional kicker for the markets. Of course, we have 3 new listings today, so you keep an eye out on that as well, followed by the big HDB financial listing tomorrow. That Monday's high of yesterday, 25,662, will be an important level to watch out for, and yesterday's low of 25,474, that is also an important level to watch out for on the index. And of course, for now, the GIFT Nifty is indicating a slightly subdued start for our own markets, but there are lots of triggers to watch out for in today's session.
Absolutely, Urmas. Thank you so much for that. A lot of triggers that we'll be keeping an eye out on, but which are the important stocks that you should be keeping on your radar today? We have Upasna joining in with us to give us that list. Good morning, Upasna.
Well, good morning, Winnie. A lot of stocks on our radar on the back of order wins. Firstly, BEL company has secured additional orders worth 528 crores since 20th June 2025. Kalpataru Projects company along with its subsidiaries have secured new orders worth 989 crore is what they've indicated. NCC also in focus as company has received orders worth 1691 crore in the month of June 2025. KSB also in focus as the company backs 15 boiler feed pump order from L&T for NTPC power plants. SJVN, the company achieves commercial operation for its Bikaner solar power project on 30th of June. Now, NMDC also in focus as the company cuts prices effective from today. Now, price cut or in lump is about 600 per ton, and in fines it is nearly about rupees 500 per ton. So this is nearly about 11% price cut as compared to the last month overall. Now, Canfin Homes also in focus as it appoints Abhishek Mishra as the CFO for 3 years with effect from 30th June 2025. And lastly, coming to CG Power, the CG Power opens its QIP and the indicative size is about 3,000 crore. And according to our sources, the indicative issue price would be somewhere around 660 per share. So all in all these stocks in our radar today.
Absolutely keeping an eye out on all those stocks in today's trading session. But finally, Mangalam is here to tell us what are we watching out for in the world of F&O. Good morning, Mangalam.
Good morning. So yesterday, if you looked at the markets, you would say that, there was a bit of consolidation. I'll tell you what, it was just the Nifty pausing for breath after 4 days of rallying and perhaps, taking a step back before it takes a few steps forward. Why do I say that? Because despite the Nifty falling about 0.5% and the Nifty Bank falling about 0.25%, the broader markets did extremely well. And that typically happens when the street believes that there is very strong support at lower levels. Look at the Nifty Next 50, mid-cap index as well as the small-cap index. All of them doing well. All through yesterday's trading session, the advance decline was firmly in favor of advances. So the green line firmly above the red line. And at the same time, even if you look at it, there was no major worries when it came to flows. The FIS sold about 800 crores in the cash market. DI has more than bought that by 3,500 crore of purchase. The FIS unwound some long positions in index futures. So 903 crore worth selling. No further shorts added. They just took some profits home for the last 2 trading sessions. The longs, which were at 38%, are now dropped to 36%. Now, here's where the positive news comes in. Remember, yesterday we had pointed out that the India VIX had fallen a lot and it's perhaps pricing in complacency. Now it seems like yesterday's down move has taken the India VIX slightly higher, so it's normalizing. Complacency is getting out of the way. And secondly, the PCR, the put-call ratio, was at overheated zones of 1.25. Now it's normalized to 0.81. Remember, it gets into overcold zones at around 0.7, 0.75. So that's something we'll be watching out for. A lot of the put writers, which were aggressive, were taken to cleaners yesterday. 25,600 put writers shed positions. 25,500 put writers also shed positions. Will call writers be taken to cleaners today? It's something that we will be tracking. For the Nifty to move further higher, we'll just have to move past yesterday and day before yesterday's lows, highs, which is 25,650, 25,679. So we'll keep an eye out on that. And we pointed out that RBL Bank is likely to enter F&O ban. That's exactly what has happened. We'll keep an eye out on this stock.
Okay, Mangalam, thank you so much for that. But on